is recording. Our speech notes is recording. Time now is 9:38 p.m. and British Standard Time. Our date consists of January 2026. Very important video. Okay, let's watch the video. Where's my camera? I don't have a camera anyway. Let's continue.
Basics of the electroencephalogram.
Too fast, don't really care. English. Oh. So electroencephalogram.
Or EEG, how it's recorded, and how the results can be used in clinical neurology. We will review several topics briefly during this video. The topics will be reviewed in further detail in subsequent videos for those interested in deeper dive.
Okay, so guys, I'm going to say what this video is about. So basically, this is basically the introduction to EEG by Jeremy Muller. He's a professor at the university, but I'm going to take his word for it. So this video is basically, let me list the things out. Maybe we should get the video on it. Let's make another video on it. So this is an EEG's electroencephalogram. What's the pronounced again, Jeremy?
Tell in subsequent.
Yeah, this is electro.
We will review
electrode, EEG. But the EEGs are basically the kind of annoying things out there. But I don't wanna watch this video, and then because I'm getting destroyed the video. So my objective first of all is with EEGs, have a reverse EEG. So EEGs record, but I'm gonna have a relay EEG. So you're gonna do if it's recording brainwaves, my one is relaying brainwaves. So it's basically a receiver, with a transmitter. So my one's a transmitter. So you really raw data, but you don't use it. I'm a transmitter. So my one's a transmitter. So it's replaying. My one can replay. So EEGs are receivers naturally. So they record data. Of brainwaves, but they don't even record seismic waves. So I'm trying to capture what's called a seismic wave. What can this brainwave mean? Literally, in the real world, what can this brainwave mean? So I'm trying to use a transmitter to relay it to some kind of system. And what's why I'm going to do that? 360. I'm trying to look at the shape of consciousness. The shape of consciousness. What does consciousness look like? What does it feel like? It's experimental, but that's the first goal of it. So I'm going to tell you what's the shape of consciousness. If you get electric signal in your brain, and it produces a wave, and that wave has to have a ping, radio ping, and then your consciousness responds to that shape. What is the shape of your consciousness? I know I'm a octagonal consciousness model. I have octagon, so I have a octagonal model, but my goal is really 4D projection of octagon. So, consciousness will be retarded, and the same question is, if my consciousness is shaped as an octagon, it has 8 sides. So where do I make mistakes? Where do I struggle with the mistakes? What in life do I find difficult? What's my brain? What's my brain struggling with to comprehend? If you look at the shape of my consciousness, what would I be able to not do without that? Is there anything I will not be able to do without my consciousness? Is this something I can do with my consciousness? But without being conscious, as Namdi, what is consciousness? What does consciousness hold? You need to try and understand how EEGs are recorded. How EEGs are recorded. But the business is EEGs. But for my project of EEGs, I'm trying to have an EEG that records via because there's no you look at someone's brain. My hypothesis is if you look at someone's consciousness, we can tell why they have certain features. Features are phenomenal features via genotype. So genotype is immediately they're connected to, but the genetic structure of a human being is consciousness bound to. So I believe that something of a butterfly and caterpillar and something like that. But does that mean smaller size? It raises a lot of epistemic uncertainty questions about the physical world around us, but and us, why we are separated from this earth, why we are not one. and the same this is what I'm saying. I know we're not one and the same, and that's really good. I'm happy to show this for people. Also, I'm tripolar, so I'm happy with that. I'm trying to see what I can have an EEG test before you enter the metropolis of OBINexus. So, the center ring zero of Mr. Obi's, because the consciousness test will determine how your conscious shape is and whether you have a if you have a perfect circle, but you're so perfect, you perfect circle, but how your conscious reacts to kind of stimuli as being observed, being observed in kind of environments, just being observed really. So my hypothesis stems from the idea that we are observed using EEGs. EEGs is recording the data, recording consciousness information. But that's just a dump. This is like a data dump. So basically, you're just dumping consciousness data. There's no semantic information you get. There's no meaningful information. You're making sense. You're not making sense of your consciousness. You know what I'm saying? EEGs are electroencephalograms. Is a test to measure electrical activity. Yes, I measure to know I want to send electrical activity to the brain. So I want to send it. I don't want to measure. I want to send it. So if I send my message in the brain, what would the activity mean? So we can define the shape of your consciousness. And what would the test mean for small and medium devices? And what are the small metal discs called electrodes? So these are called electrodes. So these things are called electrodes, But the whole wire is called a wire. So you got electrode wire. So I want to do this electromagnetically. So I want to use this electrode to have electromagnetism. But these are just I call them electrodes because they are magnetic. So that's because they don't go in the brain. And they're not in safety. So they are electrodes in the same. The brain cells contain visual electrical impulses. Yes, they do communicate with but what's the vision? If you're communicating with the brain, you have to send something to it. So this is basically microclient test procedure. But brain cells communicate via electrical impulses, and the brain this shows up as wavy lines on an EEG recording. No, yes, I know it does, but I want to send information so I can relay what is happening with like a ping system, so like a radio system or like a sonar. So let's make it a beep and a bulb. So basically, I'm trying to say boops, or EEG bloops. So a bloop is like if you know the basic of radio waves, you go ping, so you get Marco. I'm showing Marco. He's showing Polo. Polo, who's Polo? Marco. And you try to find information. That's what I'm trying to do, really. But with the bleeps and boops, bleeps and pauses. So you can get Marco in a room. Pause, like Marco. This is a pause. But if you get Polo, you get more replying with a pause. But what's the shape of consciousness? I'm saying my consciousness. I'm saying my consciousness is 8 by 8. It has 8 sides. To the area in the 3. It's a 4D projection of 3D space, of a 3D substance. Because the goal of consciousness is bound by your dimension. And that's what it is. It doesn't exist in your dimension. It doesn't exist in 4D dimension. That's the dimension of time, space and time. You want to know everything at once. You know what I'm saying? So it is not that you got something wrong, but you can try to combine the kind of time first universe, which is like the Muko boost sequence and the triple system of the Rift ecosystem, like Nzigi trident point of yes, no, maybe into consciousness. But at some point, it's about granular control of a system that evolves. You know what I'm saying? And that system is your consciousness. So it's meant to evolve. Your consciousness meant to evolve. Yes, it's meant to evolve. And it's basically meant to evolve. So this I'm seeing kind of brain tumor, brain damage from head injury, brain disease. But what I'm really interested in is in what this actually means. And EEG can find changes in brain activity. It's very positive. This is very positive. I want to see what damages my brain. So it's very positive. It's not because I hate the brain. My brain is perfect. But I'm saying to you, I want to find any tumors going to be in the future. Because tumors can develop in your brain too. You don't know why. So it's basically part of the very positive of this brain tumors, injury, brain disease inflammation of the brain, such as herpes and strokes, sleep condition. All this one. You see, the brain disease, the brain functions, but and same, even like retardedness is the one I want to find. Cerebral palsy is called retarded people, but it's a common science word. It's called retarded. So I'm not angry at the fact of this, but I'm saying to you, it's not gonna make sense to have an EEG. I am not hating on EEGs. I want to know what they do, but I'm hating on the fact that
and separated by 10% increments, and then parasagittal, the back of the head, and then 2 preauricular points just anterior to each ear, 10 and 20% increment here.
So I'm
So
trying
you can
to
see here that C4 is closer to the midline than T.
You see,
Amplifier
all
takes
these, all,
2 electrodes
okay,
are placed.
you see, it's not really
EEG
good.
is
But mine was on
once
electrolysis. So I go on electrolysis coming to you, but it's not. This kind of science graphs are useless. They're useless data dumps because if you think of them as data dumps, I'm referring to the kind of fact that it's a computer program. You just dump the binary into some kind of a text file, and that text file is basically so many file, but it's like an assembly instruction file. But usually we're trying to disassemble the brain. But really go the tool, really go we would need. This is the assembly of brainwaves. But this is a meaning thing. This is a meaning thing. So we need to actually get a recorder, a transmitter, and so we can replay the same brainwave state and stale state. Because if it means something, then we're getting somewhere. This is not progress. This is not progress. We're not getting any progress from doing this, you guys. The EEGs are safe and painless. Yes, I know they're safe and painless, but because they are recording just your brainwaves, but they're meant to feel something, they're meant to kill your brain, to kill your cognition. I want to see someone doing maths with my one. So someone will be doing maths when they're doing their brain activity stuff. It must be electrolysis bound, wireless system of because it's possible. It's doable, guys. Because we go under the blueprint already, yeah. But I'm proud of my work. I'm not proud of you. So the test is basically the pretest to enter a system of consciousness. It's basically like getting you ready for a system of linear equation. So test is at least the machine, But they're so safe, I don't like the wires, guys. The wires make it look dystopian. They make it look dystopian. And if you can make it look nicer, people will do it and say it looks dystopian, guys. So my one should be look nice and not dystopian. So the EEGs are electroencephalogram are literally one of the best inventions of mankind. I swear to God, But they are recording dump of data like a hex dump or some kind of a hexadecimal dump or an octal dump but that's not we don't know the coding for the mind, so for the brain we don't know the coding states we don't know anything. So the dumps are kind of useless. Unless you are debugging, unless you know you're doing it for a period of time, unless you get a brain assembler. But I'm trying to find out so people can enter my OB's utopia, which is zone 0 or ring 0, into that safely. That's basically where the center will come out. But it's basically gonna be at an angle because it's going to represent system of safety. So it's gonna be safe. So even the houses. There's a policy there, housing and constitution, and you can say how to marry if you want to marry.
All of these
After just in 5 years as a contract, because 25 years, to get into 5 years, you have to renew a contract of marriage. Thank you guys. You guys have a beautiful life. But I don't want to marry people. Anyway, so you know what I'm saying? Because it's not I hate things. The kind of thing I'm saying is that the EEGs are just recording vast amounts of data. It's so scattered. It's so noisy. It doesn't. It looks like it does not make sense. The left brain, right brain, left brain. Right. I don't care about the left brain and the right brain. I care about the meaning. This is just telling me that this is the left brain. This is useless brain data. And you're saying it's no. It's not. This is not. Test and procedures. Test and process. This is not a process. This is not a procedure. This is a process. A procedure will use some kind of output. So you get a process which is like So if let's say if OB builds this kind of EEGs I'm talking about, the one really one. Which animal doing? The process will differentiate. The process will identify LJ, Uche, and Obi as Namdi, as one person, and a procedure will justify Uche who's speaking, Uche, Eze, or Obi who's talking. This is a procedure. This is a test and procedure. This is not a procedure, guys. This is basically a half a procedure. Request an appointment. No, I want no. But it's basically a test procedure. No, but I'm trying to have my own test of a non-invasive EEG system. But it's gonna allow you to remake your reality, see your dreams, without any wires, just watch yourself with your phone. But it's a work on relay system, so it's gonna work better because it's gonna record, receive and transmit. You gotta make sense of it. Make sense of what you were saying. You gotta make sense. You gotta tell us what they play games. See what conscious shape is. Because consciousness is in the brain, but you gotta work on your consciousness. So we don't attack anything that is our genetic ancestral. To do with problem of retardancy, physically and mentally retardancy. I'm saying so it's basically genetic structure. The problem comes from the outside. No problem. You are perfect until you get a problem one day outside in the outside world, in the real world. That's a very positive question. So no one should be telling anyone's brain is imperfect. So this is the problem. The very positive is the problem comes from the outside world. Thank you guys. I'm gonna upload this transcript now. So this is my transcript now. Let me upload the transcript now. So this is basically the video on electroencephalogram. So by Jeremy Morrow on YouTube. But I don't want to play it yet. So how easy to record it?
For a few small differences.
This was just
the differential amplifier takes two electrical inputs and displays the output as the difference between the two inputs.
Differentiation, yes.
This is particularly useful at recording and displaying very small electrical signals.
Okay. This is like a calculated differentiation of but this is mine was the lapis calculated, but it wasn't angle. So this one I already know what it's doing, but these signals are just like a positive and little child input. So this is like a double input gate, which is an XOR gate. So this is an XOR gate in my opinion, or a NOR gate, or NAND gate. Or NAND gate. So it's basically anything that has two inputs. So it doesn't matter what the input is. This is not enough. This gate is not. This is the simplest. This is called the differential amplifier. I know it's an amplifier, but the output is garbled, and that is what I'm saying. You're feeding too much kind of cross input into one system, and this is not why I like it. I don't like it. Insane.
Such as those in EEG. For example, you can see these two waveforms, which are very similar, except for one small difference, demonstrated here in red. When these two signals are placed through a differential amplifier, you can see that the output is simply the difference between them, and all of the other commonalities are cancelled out. Another way to think about this is to think about the very common children's game that is seen on restaurant menus. You can see that the picture on the left and the picture on the right are very similar, except for a few small differences indicated here. If we were to consider the picture on the left as input 1 and the picture on the right as input 2, we could put these two quote-unquote signals through a differential amplifier, and the output would look like this. This example is a good way of thinking about EEG signals as something that is not absolute, but rather the difference between two inputs.
Okay, so it's making sense, but it's not making sense. This part is like, why did these people take the difference? Yeah, I know differentiation, and you get Uche, Obi, and Eze, but they're not thinking about themselves, guys. They're not, So it's very positive. Everyone's thinking about themselves when you do brain EEG, because I supposed to get into thinking about himself, but he didn't think about it. So I'm thinking about myself. So I'm gonna change my constitution. So the kind of saying this is different pictures, but there's so many ways you can see the difference. You got the Bernoulli formula of the first law of differentiation. But you get the Bernoulli equation. Basically, that's basically the first. You can take the first derivative of any system because that's the Bernoulli equation allows you to do. But it doesn't matter the form of the equation. The formula is the form, so you know the difference already via the dy of the EDX or the differentiation and the integration of the area. So you know what I'm saying, you know what the difference is, but this is not clear. You got red, you got blue, you got apart from all of that, it's kind of inconsistent with kind of idea. Something feels off. Yeah, I don't know because these are images. Yes, these are images. Are these images of consciousness going to consciousness process? I don't know. It's just like it's not showing. It's not really working the way I intended to. These images are trees, two cell trees that identical looking images, but things removed. So I'm gonna say this is not a full picture. This is a simple one, simple one. A 3D beam can do this without proceeds with a proper. But 2D beam, this image is basically something wrong with the medium, and this image is basically not enough. So my point is, so I'm trying to put people into a 4D 3D world. So they want to look at 3D material. So in my consideration, let's look at something in 3D, look at something in the row up, something that's 3D. I don't care whether it's like a crazy, something up and down, that's going up side to side, like something going side to side, and they're watching that thing. But that thing must be there instead of a 2D picture. Because it's not gonna give enough information. It's gonna be 3D, it's 3D. So that's what I'm seeing with this kind of 3D. It's making me angry, a bit angry, because this is basically a simple thing to do for myself. So so that's what I mean. Like, because I'm a 4D, I believe consciousness is 4-dimensional. So how would I prove that it's a 3D thing? Something I observe and see the difference of. Moving on.
Signals as something that is not absolute, but rather the difference between two inputs. EEG can be displayed in different ways, which are all known as montages. The most common type of montage is a bipolar montage.
Yeah.
Here, I have a picture of...
So these montages, I feel like they look like mirages. So, because mirages kind of mean reality of, like, you get water, but water is fake. So I'm gonna say montages, my framework are like before it gets defined. So you get a mirage. So if you get a mirage is basically something that's the desert heat. You start hallucinating. Basically, it's an anti-hallucination. So you start to see the sun, but the sun. So you get water. So you see a cactus. Are you seeing a cactus? Yes or no? Yes, you're in desert. The cactus contains water. So you're thinking about food and water, but the cactus is not there. So the mirage is basically maybe the cactus is a bit further than you think, but the cactus is there. Yes or no? So the first step of mirage is basically. Yes, the cactus is there. It's a true yes. The cactus is there. The cactus is there. So the montage will be the cactus is there, and that's the reality I have. I can go to the cactus, and that's the first montage. So it's a true positive, false positive, based on the space reality you're in, and the processing information in the here and now. Thank you, guys.
Of the head from the top down. If we display the difference between FP2 and F8 as a single tracing, it would look something like this, and we call this single tracing a channel or derivation. Next, we move posteriorly and look at the difference between F8 and T8 and display this as a different channel. We continue to move posteriorly.
You see, it's an octagon model 1, 2, 3, 4. It's really seen like an octagon. Like you can see it's an octagon already. Yeah. Like because they're moving from the channels. They already got the model. Why are they doing this thing wrong? Why are they doing it wrong? They already got the model. Look at this kind of shape. But they're doing it wrong because they don't know what they're doing. So it's just like they're trying to propose.
We have a string of recordings from the front of the head to the back that are linked together. This string of recordings is called a chain. In this case, this is the right temporal chain. Several chains can be placed together in a single display, such as this example of an anterior-posterior bipolar montage. This anterior-posterior bipolar montage is laid out as if we are looking at the top of the head of the patient, and they are facing to...
Okay, this definition has to be there. So you have all the definition be there. I'm practicing my own definition, so just keep my definition. So it's a brain. So this is my own definition under this framework of bipolar montage. So let's keep that. I'm not changing it, guys. I'm just gonna keep this here for now. But until I'm sure what my question is. So I'm fine. I'm perfect. I don't want you guys to ruin me. So I don't trust you guys. So there's a policy. If you go to github.com/opendef. O for Oscar, P for Papa, E for Esco, N for November, D for definition, D for def, D for Delta, E for Echo, F for France. You can use all your open definitions there. So I'm not a brain scientist, I'm not a neurologist, but I believe that we should have our own definitions because it's basically we all have different brains, and that's basically what we are. It's before someone can formalize what they need. Okay, thank you guys.
The right. Therefore, we first see the left temporal chain, then the left parasagittal chain.
Because the left temporal chain is basically for processing, so it's like temporal lobe, so it's like a temporal processing space and time. That's what it means. It's like and then you get the middle one.
Then the midline, then the right parasagittal chain.
The parasagittal chains are very important for processing.
And then the right temporal chain. At the bottom, we see a single EKG channel as well. Another common type of montage is called a common average reference montage.
So basically, these are like ways of measuring. But basically, these are ways of measuring consciousness. I'm seeing that now. This is what montages are, the ways of measuring consciousness. But I'm to do that. I'm to use this method of on the bipolar at a consciousness level. So basically, I'm trying to save the wave using this method. I'm trying to use but this is good enough for me to do it. I'm going to send this pattern as waves to the brain and see whether the brain responds to it. End of story. So this is basically the common average reference montage. The bipolar montage. And what's the other ones are here? The anteporeal montage. And what was the last one? The common EEG patterns. Montage, eye blink. So insane. So it's basically a system of basically movement, up and down. So the consciousness can control the computer. So so you can continue if you're dying, you can use your consciousness because really knows where your consciousness shape is and what's really moving it because you are the controller, you are the signal. So there's no noise. So it doesn't matter if you're almost dead or not. You can log into your computer and play video games, or say or save the world. Anyone you prefer. Insane. It's not. It's basically meant to work as intended. So or save yourself, but this what I'm seeing now is basically OBINexus session continuity, using the bipolar montages as transmitters. Take a recording of the montages, bipolar montages, anti-posterior montages, anti-posterior bipolar montages, and all the other montages to create a reality of four realities in time, being born in time or doing something in time, not running out of time in space, born in space because I was born in time. I was born because my mom was planned. So basically, it's basically a sequence of sequence of montages that dictate the shape of consciousness as pulses that shape that seek out the shape of consciousness for every pathway, shape or form based on the human. So we can start understanding what our bubble quality, what our bubble quality framework is like. So 4D model of consciousness is right in a 3D space because all we have is time. All we share is time. Never space. Thank you guys. All space. Never time. Thank you.